Hello, I'm Bob Weir with another interview of notable people in North Texas. My guest today is Texas State Representative Dr. Lynn Stucky, who represents the 64th District. Thank you for being here, Dr.
Thank you
Stucky.
very much for allowing me to.
If you would please give our viewers some background information, education, experience,
Okay.
etc.
I grew up on a farm ranch in Kansas. I went to Kansas State University, got a bachelor's degree in agriculture in 1979, and then a doctor of veterinary medicine in 1983, and immediately moved to Denton, the Denton area, and have been practicing veterinary medicine for 34 years, 6 months, and about 10 days. Enjoy it. My wife and I knew from the very beginning when we moved here that we need to be involved in the community. I've been president of the Sanger School Board for 4 years out of my 15 years that I served. I was president of Denton County Veterinary Medical Association for 6 years. I served on the Animal Advisory Board in Denton, in the city of Denton. I was on the executive board of the Chamber of Commerce, and I can keep going on, but that's probably enough.
Well, that's a lot. What towns and district and cities are represented by District 64?
At the far northwest, we got Crum, and it comes through pretty much all of Denton proper. We have Corinth, Hickory Creek, and Lake Dallas.
Oh, sizable. All right. Well,
Shady Shores.
what are some of the legislation you sponsored during your first term?
Well, I was the author, not the co-author, joint author of 8 bills. 5 of those 8 that did pass into law, which is a 63% passage rate, the highest in the House. 2 of those were statewide bills, and 3 of them were local bills, all that helped the constituents of District 64. So, in specific, there was some that didn't pass. One was a bill on warfarin poisoning in hogs. I felt like that was not a good thing to use because of the mechanism of action, and so it passed hardly through the House with 128 votes, but it got killed in the Senate. One of the more notable economic bills was the hot tax that I've had in Denton. Because it passed through our House and went over to the Senate, and not much had moved out of the Senate, it got 22 other bills put on it as amendments, which they call the Christmas tree effect, and it came back over to us with 23 different bills stuck on one. We had to work through all that. We ended up with 20 different municipalities and areas in Texas that benefited by using the tax money from a new hotel that was being built to stimulate the building of a new hotel or convention center.
Tell me, what do you think are the most significant issues facing Texans today?
Well, number one of the reasons I decided to run is our quality of life. Quality of life for our families, for my kids, our grandkids, or the generations to come. Property tax would be up there as concerns. Pro-life issues, the Second Amendment, and have the right to bear arms. Those are all issues. Right now, property tax has been discussed immensely. We did have a property tax bill that went through and was debated in the House and the Senate. It ended up failing. We'll have to come back and work on it again. But the way that bill was put together, it wouldn't give anybody any property tax relief. What I want to see is something that we do that actually helps reduce it. And one of your biggest parts of your property tax bill is finance and the payment of public schools. We need to revamp how we fund public school system. In the House, we spent thousands of hours coming up with the start of that, and we sent it over to the Senate, and they killed it within 24 hours. So we'll go back, we'll start over and try again next session, if I have that opportunity to be there.
Well, speaking of taxes, we just finished a new budget. Is there a tax increase in it?
We had a $217 billion budget. That is a biennial budget, and we are only one of a few states left that do bienniums every other year. If we took the state of Texas and separated it from all the other states, our economy in the state of Texas is the 10th largest economy in the world, larger than Mexico and larger than Russia. But as far as our budget, we have constraints. We have to stay within our own means and within the money that we have available. And so we reduced our budget by 6% over the prior budget, the prior biennium. There were some things that got increases, but there were a number of agencies that got decreases. And bills, talking about bills, the only bill that we have to pass every 2 years is the budget,
A balanced budget.
a balanced budget.
Right. All right, how about the latest on border security, sanctuary cities?
Border security is extremely important to me. As a veterinarian, I also do the drug dogs for the Denton County Sheriff's Department. I work with the city of Denton on some of their issues there too, and we still see illegal drugs come through 35 up the highway. They're coming into Texas, and they're also even going on farther north. And with those are some people that are hardened criminals, and we need to close our borders. We would like to think that's a federal issue, and we are trying to work with the Trump administration to make sure at some point they take over. But we have invested $800 million in this budget. We're putting 250 new troopers along the border, the Texas-Mexico border, and we are determined that we need to close the borders so that for the safety of our citizens.
And that would be included, the wall would be included in that. I mean, you're for the erection of
A wall or some type of electronic surveillance that stops people from crossing the border. You also asked about sanctuary cities. There is no definition for sanctuary city, period. But thousands of years ago, it was considered when Christians congregated or other religions. And a sanctuary you would see as a haven or a safe place. The SB 4, the Sanctuary City Bill, was only a bill to say you, in the law, have to do what's already in the law. It's a bill to tell us to do what's already there, enforce what's there. And it was required because we had some areas, including Travis County around Austin, that said they're not going to enforce that. It doesn't have anything to do negatively about somebody who's not here legally, unless you are a criminal.
Sure. Well, the idea is that if you do enforce the law, then there are no such thing as a sanctuary city.
Exactly. In Denton County, in District 64, all of the police forces, all of the county sheriff, they all follow the law, so it's not going to affect us at all.
Right. All right, let me go on to your opinion on the so-called bathroom bill.
Well, there's two sides to that, obviously. Number one, prior to the bathroom bill being an issue, we had the Obama administration push it so far that we had even a superintendent of schools in Fort Worth say that based on how you feel that day, your gender preference or who you think you are, you can go into whatever restroom you feel you are, okay? That brought a lot of people to come out and say, look, we don't agree with that. I have a 14-year-old daughter, and I don't want somebody that today decided their gender is now female that was born a male to be able to go into the girls' restroom or to go into the girls' dressing room. So that is a legitimate concern, but we have to figure out a balance where we can make sure that our children are safe and still not create unintended consequences. When I pull over to a restroom or maybe to go get gas, I've done this before, and there's two bathrooms, and the men's bathroom stays full and the women's is open. You know, we don't want to get fined by going into the women's restroom and go in the bathroom if it's an unintended consequence, especially if you can lock it and go in and come out. So we have to make sure that anything that we do doesn't have unintended consequences.
But this has not been decided yet.
No, it's not been decided. It's been debated back and forth, and just like property tax reform, it did not pass.
Yeah. You know, some things we would think is just common sense.
We would.
But we live in a strange age. Okay, let me ask you about the pro-life session in the House, specifically the banning of partial birth abortion.
I think, you know, the sanctity of life from conception, that I'm a true believer in pro-life. I got a 100% rating by Right to Life. There's two pro-life groups. There's Alliance to Life is the other. I got an endorsement by them. We had some great bills, including that bill that makes it more difficult to have abortions, especially abortions that tear fetuses apart and then are taken out of the uterus. So we've had some great pro-life bills that passed this session, and we'll continue to work on other pro-life measures.
All right, we've covered quite a bit. It always goes very quickly. Is there anything else that you'd like to add about your campaign for re-election?
I'd like to add that I've got a number of awards, including Most Effective Freshman of the Year, a conservative Republican by the Conservative Caucus, and a number of other awards. And part of being a freshman is developing relationships with other members, and that's a learning process that we all have to go through to learn about the other people. And diplomacy, I think I've been very effective as a freshman, but I can even be more effective in my second term. Would like to have your vote.
And a lot of that will be in the written portion as well, including your website. So I want to
Yes, sir.
thank you very much, Dr. Stucky, for being here, and good luck in
Thank
the
you very much.
election.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, and thank you for watching.